Why aren't men getting married anymore? It's not because they hate love or they're against love. It's because the system is actually stacked against them.
As women, can't we just be honest about the fact that a lot of girls aren't lonely because they can't find a decent man who's respectable, or men aren't men anymore? They're lonely because the expectations of what they want out of a relationship do not equate with who they are.
He's fucking exhausted. He is so beyond fucking tired at this point and mentally and physically drained from consistently being told he is not good enough.
Men are traveling out of the US just to find a wife. I was watching a podcast the other day and it went on to explain why men are traveling out of the States to find a wife.
Having babies out of wedlock is not slowing down, it's actually speeding up because men have checked out. Men are not afraid to be fathers, they are afraid to be husbands to women that bring drama, disrespect, and emotional warfare to their
my whole world got disheveled. And I feel like he has moved on and he is healed and moved on and doesn't care about me, which I don't want him to come back into my life, but it still just sucks, I can't imagine, thank you guys for sharing stuff, like stories that you've gotten through this and it's been however many years, because I could not imagine that.
The reality of your early 20s is that it is super lonely and you will just be alone all the fucking time. Like, I feel so isolated. I feel so depressed because I'm unemployed. I got laid off like a month ago and that was like the only structure in my day keeping me social. For some reason, none of my coworkers talk to me. Every time I think I'm trying to make a friend, I get ghosted and I don't fucking know why, but obviously I'm the problem if it keeps happening to me. Like, not even super close with anyone in my family. No mother figure. Father ghosts me all the fucking time. It's great. It's fucking great. It sucks, man.
What's interesting is she admits she doesn't want him back, but she's struggling because he moved on. That's exactly why more men are quietly opting out after enough heartbreak, rejection, and emotional exhaustion. Many men stop chasing validation and start choosing peace instead. He is exhausted.
He's fucking exhausted. He is so beyond fucking tired at this point and mentally and physically drained from consistently being told he is not good enough. He is beyond a point now where he doesn't even care anymore because he doesn't even feel anything anymore. He went numb to deal with being a consistent disappointment to you because you've put him on a pedestal that you don't even live up to yourself, but you expect him to. He is trying to communicate with a person that doesn't even take accountability. So with all due respect, at what point do you realize that you are running a man into the ground, take accountability and responsibility for your own marriage instead of consistently blaming him for everything?
Men aren't walking away because they're weak, they're walking away because they're exhausted. If one person is expected to carry the marriage while the other avoids accountability, eventually he'll choose peace over constant criticism. That's the male opt-out nobody wants to talk about.
Women, can't we just be honest about the fact that a lot of girls aren't lonely because they can't find a decent man who's respectable, or men aren't men anymore? They're lonely because the expectations of what they want out of a relationship do not equate with who they are in relationships. You say you want a man who's emotionally mature, but whenever you're losing an argument, you start crying. That's emotional manipulation. Some of y'all want a man who's consistent, but you don't even post content consistently, let alone go to the gym consistently. And don't get me started on the meal plan you said you were going to start 3 weeks ago for your winter arc. You want a man with great communication skills, but you crashed out on the last one because you thought he was gaslighting you or manipulating you or he was a narcissist. Stop letting people get you out of character. That means you don't have good communication skills. All I'm saying is you can't expect a high value partner when you are not a high value partner. This fantasy idea that all the men are the bad ones and all the girls are just 10 out of 10s waiting for someone perfect. You're not perfect. 10 out of 10 is perfect. You're not perfect. And neither is the man that is also on your level. But you won't even give him a chance because in your mind you're a 10 and he's a 5. But in reality, you're both 6s. Sit with that. The uncomfortable truth here, ladies, is that the dating market and the men are not the only problem. For a lot of the girls, self-awareness is the problem because you can't want better when you're not.
This is exactly why so many men have quietly stepped away from dating. They're tired of being judged by impossible standards while being told not to have any standards of their own. If both people aren't improving themselves, the relationship was never going to work in the first place.
Over-romanticize living alone. Living alone is not for the weak. Living alone isn't even for the strong. I'm fucking strong, okay? I'm fucking strong, and even I struggle with living alone. And the people who romanticize it are people who have never lived alone before. People who are in a shit living situation, whether that's housemates, family, a partner, when you don't feel like you have any privacy or freedom, but no one tells you how fucking difficult it is. Everything is so expensive. If you work from home, you can literally go weeks without speaking to another person face to face. You have to handle all of the chores by yourself. And the biggest thing that people don't think about is the silence. Every single year, Spotify Wrapped comes around and people are like, fucking hell, Leanne, how have you got so many minutes on there? It is because I need music to fill the silence. Yeah, peace and quiet is fucking great now and again, but the only people who want complete and utter silence all the time are the people who don't have it. That silence weighs on you. It is so fucking heavy. And with that silence does come a lot of loneliness. So if you're living alone and you don't feel like you're thriving like the people on the internet said you would be, you're not the only one. This is reality.
Living alone sounds empowering until the bills, the silence, and the isolation hit. This is why more men are choosing peace over chasing people who said they didn't need them. Now, many are realizing life is a lot harder without a solid partner.
Other single child-free women feel like, do you feel like when you're having a conversation with a group of people, and maybe it's like your group of friends and everyone has something to share, like about their life, it feels like you don't add value. It just feels like sometimes that I don't bring value to certain conversations because I don't have kids and I'm not married. And I know that's not true. I don't know the last time that someone genuinely asked me about my life and wanted to actually hear about it. Like excited to hear about like what's going on in my life. I literally don't know the last time. It really messes with your self-worth sometimes. I feel deep down that I am really worth a lot, but sometimes I don't feel like I bring value to conversations. I just don't feel like anyone sees my life as like exciting without all those things.
A lot of men wanted marriage, partnership, and family, but they were told those things weren't important anymore. Now reality is reminding everyone that genuine connection and shared purpose can't be replaced by independence alone.
I personally have never said, I'm going to go do this thing and meet some men in the wild, and then actually met men in the wild. I don't know whether this is just my karmic lesson, but anytime I take an action or behave in a way to try and chase boys, the universe is like, that's cute. Stop outsourcing your power and go do your own thing. So what I will say is that I hold the assumption that amazing men are everywhere I go. I hold the assumption that incredible men are around every corner in my reality. And when I have met men in the wild, the consistent thing I've noticed is that it's always been when I'm doing something just for myself. When I'm out doing something just for my enjoyment, just for my pleasure, just for my delight. And I've been approached usually when I'm so immersed in what I'm doing. And in the moment, I'm like, oh, hi.
Many men aren't hunting for validation anymore. They're focused on their own mission. When men stop forcing interactions and start prioritizing their peace, the women who notice are the ones asking, where did all the men go? I'm going just put myself out there before I overthink it. As a woman in her.
Put myself out there before I overthink it. As a woman in her 30s who's single and childless, I've become indifferent to the idea of marriage and having children. I think many of us are coming to terms with the idea that things may not play out the way we may have thought it was going to play out at one point, and we understand that the show must go on, right? Like we have to continue to live our lives. And while I came to terms with that, one thing that I did not think about, after our parents transition, we're essentially going to be in the world by ourselves. And I say this as someone who has lost a parent, right? Like I know what that feels like. But I feel like if you have a family or if you have children, you still have an extension of you that is still with you. But when you're single and childless, you're really just in this world alone. And I'm not saying that you can't have friends, you can't have siblings, but there's a difference. Especially if your friends have kids or if your siblings have kids. They still have that familial extension of them. And today, for some reason, that thought just dawned on me, and I still don't have a solution. But do y'all ever think about stuff like that? Or is
reality eventually catches up with the fantasy of permanent independence, success, freedom, and a career are great, but they don't replace genuine family and lifelong companionship. Men didn't silently opt out because they stopped valuing commitment.
Having babies out of wedlock is not slowing down, it's actually speeding up because men have checked out. Men are not afraid to be fathers, they are afraid to be husbands to women women that bring drama, disrespect, and emotional warfare to their peace. So what happens? Men still want legacy. They're going to clap cheeks, but they gonna keep it moving. No vows, no risk, and no drama. It's very sad, but unfortunately, as women, we're doing it to ourselves. I have seen it firsthand, up close and personal. I used to be in the wedding industry, so I can tell when love is there and when it ain't. I can look at two people standing at the altar and say if they deeply love each other or not. You can see it in their eyes, and I'm telling you, I done been to enough weddings where it ain't been no emotions at the altar. It's nothing but performance for the photos. I have seen this countless of times, and I realize that as women, we have stopped marrying for love. Men marry for love, and we marry for status and money. Trust and believe, men see this too. This is why they are opting out. No man signs up to feel like a wallet and not a partner. Men are absolutely tired of being used, discarded, and drained. Men didn't kill marriage. Women killed marriage, and men have just stopped volunteering to lose it all for women that don't even respect or love them.
Men still want love, loyalty, and family, but they don't want to be treated like disposable ATMs or walking wallets. Respect has to be mutual. The moment commitment becomes one-sided, more men decide that staying single is the safer investment.
I was watching a podcast the other day, and it went on to explain why men are traveling out of the states to find a wife. To sum it all up, they say that women from other countries are well-educated, classy, elegant, very feminine, and they understand how to give and take in relationships, instead of being demanding, entitled, and ungrateful for things that men do for them. And I'm not saying all, but some women in America have grown so entitled and demanding. Basically, they think that they can treat a man however they want and they can get away with it. Treat a man poorly, and then they criticize their looks when they're not in the best shape themselves. Agree or disagree all you want, but men do like feminine women. They like when women behave feminine, and they like when women take care of themselves. Want a good man, but they're tired of our BS. So much, in fact, that they're traveling overseas just to find a
Whether people like it or not, men go where they feel respected. It's not just about beauty, it's about peace, appreciation, and reciprocity. If a man believes he'll receive more respect elsewhere, he shouldn't be shamed for expanding his options.
Brilliant. And it's so true. This is why so many men in my comment section got so upset with my last couple videos. Oh my gosh, the amount of disgusting, misogynistic comments I got. And it's because they're being called out. They're being called out on their bullshit. I'm calling it out. All of these women in the comments of my videos are calling it out. Newsflash, your actions and your words have consequences. That's how it works. And I'm so happy that women nowadays feel strong enough and feel so empowered to actually say something and to call people out. That is what should be happening. Also, I know that it's not all men, okay? I know it's not every single man on earth. However, if you go back through my videos and you read all of the comments that I got, 96% of them are men leaving horrible comments. Horrible, despicable, disgusting comments. And honestly, that's why those men are lonely. This male loneliness epidemic, it doesn't exist. It's a male consequence.
Calling it a consequences epidemic ignores why men are withdrawing. A lot of men aren't leaving because they hate women, they leaving because they feel unwanted, unheard, and constantly judged. At some point, silence becomes the response to a conversation where they feel they can't win.
I just left a first date that I was really looking forward to in under 2 minutes because I was told that it was a surprise to wear something comfortable. I said, comfortable? He said, yeah, act like it is a lounge day at home. So I throw on some sweatpants, an NBC sweatshirt, some tennis shoes, my hair in a bun, no jewelry, no nothing. Why does this man try to walk me into?
He was absolutely testing you, and you're absolutely right. He wanted you to feel some kind of way. He was probably intimidated by your beauty, what you look like when you're all dolled up, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to make her feel insecure right away. I'm going to start as early as the first date. This was a test. It reminds me of a video that I did a while ago where a man invited a woman out for a date and didn't tell her where they were going. He also went out of his way to make sure that she was not dressed appropriately for their date. They get there and he's taking her on a 5-mile hike as a test. He's testing her to see if she would complain, if she would follow his leadership. Like, some of them, they do this on purpose. They read from the same script, they're following the same Red Pill Manosphere podcast, and they're always taking the advice of horrible men who will keep them single. Everything about that was intentional, and it was designed to make you feel insecure, because the truth is, he probably was. Ladies, you have to understand that a lot of these things that these men do, they are not unintentional. They are tests designed to gauge your level of desperation, to see if you're insecure, to see what weaknesses within you they can exploit. There's no reason to follow up with that man, because all he would do is try to gaslight you and make you feel like, I'm just a silly man, I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, he does.
Why aren't men getting married anymore? It's not because they hate love or they're against love. It's because the system is actually stacked against them. In 1960, 72% of adults were married, and today it's barely 50%. And among men under 30, it's pretty much nowhere. Here's why. Divorce courts, they'll take all of the man's money, they'll take the kids, they'll take the house. 90% of child custody goes to women, and men pay millions in child support and alimony every year. Then there's the happy wife, happy life culture where men sacrifice everything to keep the peace. Meanwhile, if a man wants traditional roles, it's labeled as toxic. So men naturally ask themselves, what is the upside? And for a lot of guys, there isn't one. It's not that men in general hate commitment. They hate commitment to a system that is designed to punish them for existing. Till marriage becomes a partnership and not a legal liability, men will continue to keep saying, no thanks. Do you think men are right to walk away from the thought of marriage, or do you think that marriage is...
Men aren't necessarily rejecting marriage, they're questioning the deal they're being offered. A man wants to know that he is building a partnership, not signing up to be blamed, drained, and replaced. If marriage is going to survive, both sides have to feel protected and valued.
Men don't want to date American women anymore. A little disclaimer, I do live in the US for the past 7 years. 1. Some American men feel that American women are very entitled. They feel that many American women expect a partner who fit a specific ideal. He has to be smart, attractive, successful, fit. They believe that many American women have unrealistic expectations. They expect their partners to do everything, and they expect their partners to put their needs above their own. 2, because of the rise of radical feminism, there is a loss of femininity among American women, and they even started to adopt some masculine traits. 3, opportunistic behavior. A big percentage of divorces are initiated by women, and usually it's because they prioritize their career and personal growth over their family life. And a lot of men also express some frustration because they feel that there is a lack of commitment and loyalty among American women. And that is why a lot of American men are now dating non-American women, because they believe that non-American women tend to prioritize mutual respect, shared values, and commitment.
At the end of the day, men aren't walking away because they hate women. They're walking away from situations where they feel the expectations are one-sided. A relationship is supposed to be a partnership, not a competition where one person gives everything and the other keeps raising the requirements. Anyway, that's enough for today. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, and stay tuned for the next.